What's up, YouTube? Time for the recap. So, as we started the Discord here, we had a lot of ups and downs here this morning, but sorry, my headset's falling out here. Earbuds. We had a bunch of different. Let me get back down here. A bunch of different interesting algos here that did not fill. We were talking about. Where is that? Oh, here's a couple P&Ls for the start of the day. There, a couple thousand. Yeah, so we had a couple different imbalances. We were talking with the Discord that we found a long on. We obviously had that Russian news, bombing news, big old downside. We ended up finding a pretty good algo disposition for long in coming back to the 100 EMA. Okay, so we had a really good long there in the morning that started off the day with a good $2,000 across all the accounts that we had been talking about in Discord. Me and never satisfied there. We're always up early, giving her. And then we're watching for that 5 minute kind of upside. But of course, we had to be stalled out till jobs. So again, just giving my chat a bunch of different examples here. And as we get into the other examples here, we had a play we posted for the big open here. Now, I posted this on X. You guys were actually supposed to get this one, but I'm not quite sure how it didn't post. I tried to post it, but whatever it is, what it is. Sorry, guys. So we had the jobs data candle, okay? And you know me, I like to fib out my high-low of the jobs data, 7:30 a.m. I pointed it to the downside, and then I said long hold watch 2, long hold watch 1. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could have shorted it outside the 100 down to target. So my target, and I'm not going to give it to you because you get, no, I'm just kidding, I will. How I got this target right here, 476.34 for a short and or long reversal. And then I said big up move, watch the EMA 5-minute, 100 EMA 5-minute, and 480 is long targets over the job. So we predicted that beforehand. At this point, we were up about 1,000 across here. So where's my thing here? Yeah, here's the top steps here. We have 5,000 on these different groupings, no panel. I don't know where that is, but regardless, we did about $11,000 green today. So another green lock-in, which is awesome. So let me get into a couple of these instances on where we played here. And this is what I gave my chat the last trade of the day. So we'll go over this real quick. So for me, the top, I had two scenarios. I really wanted to see the 2618 fail and come down to the VWAP 100 EMA. Okay, so at the beginning of the QQQ, right here, we had a beautiful breakup. Now the 1 minute chart here, and notice the price action bounced to exactly where I put my level it would be bouncing at. We snapped over the VWAP in the 100 EMA, VWAP's in the purple, 100 EMA in the green. It snapped up, continued the big flush all the way up, and never came back for confirmation, right? That's the big takeaway here. So if you look, the break over the VWAP in the 100 ran, but it never actually came down and tested that VWAP or 100 EMA ever. So what I look for generally, and this is what I told my chat, at 10:30 to 11 a.m. Central, I want you guys to look for a short. 10:30 to 11 a.m. Central, I want you to look for a short right in between there, okay? So we ended up getting a short, and that is the EU close. Now the target, of course, because we broke over the VWAP in the 100 and ran up, was just to the VWAP. I wasn't predicting some kind of huge sell. Now there was a very good instance we could come back down to the 10 SMA daily, which is this big blue dashed line here, because again, that was a breakup metric right there at the VWAP and 100, because it also did include this 10 SMA from the daily, which is coded into our intraday. But that's way down here. So the first targets, obviously, if price action is going to run, the first take profits you're going to want to see are that 100 EMA and the VWAP. And then, of course, the time cycle that we called on the EU close. So we did get that time cycle down, fell all the way back down to GP, and had a really good short for the remainder of the day. And of course, I only called, a short under here trend, and we didn't really get any great lower highs. We started to right when I got off stream, and I'm like, yeah, there's your lower high. That'd be about the only one. But there was still a chance that this could kind of skim up to the highs here. But like I said, I told everybody to manage it. So it says short manage anything under yesterday's highs. Wait for top of day to be put in at 10:30-ish area and short. Okay, so we put this note out before we left, called the 10:30-11. Top, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Also had this note on here, VWAP short target, which, yes, target is spelled incorrectly. That's me every day, 10:30 to 11. So that was one of the bigger downside moves. So let's talk about this target and where the bounce point was. So when we get a knee-jerk reaction news piece like the Russia piece like this, I just look to the left and I go, well, what was happening here? Because yesterday we had that FOMC force up that we had called. If you watched the video or seeing the Twitter post, we had a big run up expected because, again, I had algo displacements that needed to be filled that I can't really show you. But let's get on the 5-minute no tag So do you notice here where that dash level is that I just spoke about for 76.34? The 5-minute opening range had a no GP candle, okay? So if we fib out the high-low of the 5-minute chart, we suggest that the golden pocket usually needs to be tagged, and if it's not, which yesterday it obviously flew up, held the 100 fib, and off she went. It caught support at that 100, right? We never actually filled the golden pocket. Well, that's going to become an open algo displacement to come down to for the next day. So today I said, well, I mean, we're already down here. We bounced it in pre, but I don't really care about pre-market or after hours. These things don't matter to me. They don't matter to the algorithms either. So the algo here at the live open, I said would probably come back down to 476.34 because that is the golden pocket that we just talked about at the open of the 5-minute. So we had a really good chance to see where the algos were watching. So we came down, hit it, and of course it ran. And all you had to do is, again, take the opening 5-minute here. We took a 5-minute high-low fibs and ran all the way up to the 261 area, and that was the top of the day call. I wish it was harder than that. It's a quick recap today. So what's next? Well, we don't really know. We're going to golden pocket the next day like we always do. High-low on the gold side, and we're going to go to the movement forward of golden pocket potential. So if we go to the daily chart here, and we start to see these golden pockets, we're stacking up at the 10, because remember that 10 SMA and putting some weight on us right here. We're going to remove these, and we're going to put in the high-low. I'm assuming we've already put in the high and the low today. What time is it? Yeah, we only about an hour left. We're probably just going to chop in between. There's a rare chance we'll go down a little further, but what you want to do is you want to fib out those high-lows for tomorrow. Like we always do, we just change these gold, and then we're going to watch the direction from the golden pocket, right? So if we end up having a gap down and runs back to the GP like we did today, for that early long call, perfect. If we actually get some bullish news or the shorts let loose and it comes up a little bit, we'll still look for the back test. So we're in the same chop zone. So we're only showing you some of those recaps that we do intraday scalping, doing well, because everything else to the side here is just consolidation. Now this consolidation does not mean instant bullish, does not mean instant bearish. I mean, we're obviously down to those deviation -2s that we play. And if this does let go, well, I unfortunately have a couple targets I know where we could potentially land, right, into those 460s. Now, I don't want to alarm anybody, but the NQ, I do have algo displacements, and I don't know, this is not a call, but we do have algo displacements that need to be filled in NQ into the 18,500s. It's actually like right here. There's a really big specific candle at 1800 1 2, but I have algos. It actually happened at the bottom of 9.9 right here. Is 18,000 like 3 or 4. I have a really weird algo imbalance right here that says it wants to fill this year. I don't know obviously when, if, the turnaround, but systematically we will return to the spot. Okay. And it's quite the doozy. So that big doozy of a spot, we don't know when that's going to come back around. Because if we're looking at, let me clean this up a little bit here. Well, that didn't help, but we'll just delete that from way up there. There we go. So if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, breaking all the way down, catching that -2 deviation, popping the 10, and let's just say it loops for further and keeps going down, well, that's still a complete possibility, right? Bouncing doesn't mean much. But we expect a bounce before the retrace, right? Because we've came down, 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 broke the 200s. And as I've said in many videos, I did not want to see the 200s close underneath the EMA 3.5%. And the lowest it did was, 5, 6 something on NQ. Of course, I said this about SPY, so let's go over to the correct chart. I'm not paying attention here. So closing 3.5% under the SPY, I think it was like 3.4. There it is right there. 3.401% away or close enough because the close is there. So the lows was 3.49, close was a little bit above it. Statistically, there is a metric saying that if we do close 3.5% of that 200, we actually have a chance to continue. I didn't think that one was going to happen. So let's talk bounce, right? So even if it is a temporary bounce, I would like to see it back up to, obviously, confirmational backtest. If you break through a moving average, I don't care if it's 100 or a 50 or a 10, you look for backtest. Right now, we wiped out the 200s, so you look for the 200s because that's the first moving average, obviously, ahead of all the others. So you're going to look for that backtest back up to the 200s here, specifically the SMA. It does have a little bit of some consolidation on it, but not a tried and true breakthrough to back test. The 100 EMA even has one, right? We broke through this huge wine day and then green a little and then gapped up the open and actually hit the 10 and continued. So the availability for a bounce, I think, from the all-time high to come all the way back down is still near that 50 SMA. Quite likely, to be honest. And if it goes any higher than that, we're talking back to like 528 to 530s, and we're nowhere near calling that. But the initial bounce, I think, is going to be anything above the deviation, anything above about 474 here, and we will get up to here. I think the easiest. I think we have close to 500 for a back test of psychological on this bounce, and that's the small term. Okay, in the short term, we might go down from there, then up, hit the 50, so on and so forth, because that is going to need another confirmational back test from the crack of the 50 back here, finding support and eventually ending back up there. So with that being said, we'll wait and see what happens. We're going to fib out those high lows. We're going to day trade it like we always do. If you're interested in trading with me here, we do it live every single morning, Monday through Friday that we can. And the link is in the description if you want to catch me on that. If you want to win an account with Boiler Room Trading, my friend Dell22 is sponsoring a membership. So comment Dell22, no spaces in the comments, and we're going to pick a membership for a whole month to give away in our service. And all you got to do is comment on every video from Monday through Friday. I'm going to pick a random one Monday through Friday. Today's obviously Wednesday or Thursday, and tomorrow's Friday. So as we see the last 2 days here, today and tomorrow, there's the last 2 chances to comment Dell22 because it's going to be a random pick between Monday, Friday. It might be Monday, it might be Tuesday, it might be Wednesday, it might be Thursday, might be tomorrow. And we're just going to pick that video and we're going to give away membership. Also giving away a Top Step account like always, Saturday, noon central for our live class on Anchored View apps. If that's interesting to you, tune on in. We'll be there to give away those 2. And all you got to do again is leave a regular comment. Doesn't have to be Dell22, but the Dell22 comment is going to be associated with the free membership. So I'm going to use a comment picker that's specifically looks for that word. So make sure you comment Dell22 and something else if you want to win the Top Step account, because we won't, those are going to be separate. So 2 comments, that's all you got to do. Like, subscribe, and tune in for the next video. And above all, trade safe, stay curious, my friends.